Well, it's early Christmas morning. This was supposed to be picked up yesterday, but the Flex Seal that I put on it to try and waterproof it took a little bit longer to dry than I thought. So I'm going to go deliver it this morning, just like Santa Claus. Hey, bud.
Alright.
I'm curious what's in there, too.
Open it. I love you. Yeah. Open it. See what it is? You see what it is, buddy?
The biggest bag of rice I've ever seen in my life.
See what it is? You want this? Where do you want it? In there? Alright, bud. Ready?
Hold up. We need to go back to the beginning. Welcome to the one where we played with the rice. So, some of you might be wondering what this is. This would be a sensory table for my buddy's son who is autistic, but we just call him Vic. The plastic containers that you'll see later, or that you saw in the beginning actually, can be filled with different materials so he can play and experience different types of feelings with his hands. As you saw, Vic likes rice, and I was told other bins will be filled with soap and water and kinetic sand. Now, I enjoyed building this and learned some things along the way. The pain in the you-know-what came about a week before Christmas when I got this text message. There was no way I was saying no to Vic, so of course I said yes. And being the good friend I am, I didn't charge him the FU price. Obviously, I got the table done, but it was a complete rush job the entire way. There was definitely some complaining from my wife as I spent every spare moment for about a week I had trying to get this thing done on time. And, as you saw, it wasn't even done the day it was supposed to be picked up. It actually worked out better that way, though. Getting to deliver this thing to Vic personally was so much better. Now, I know why Santa loves his job.
Babo Natale, Pears Nicole.
Topo Gijo.
Now that the legs are done going through the planer, it's time for everyone's favorite part, sanding. Don't worry, I won't subject you to all of it. After marking all the legs sides with pencil, I sanded each one with 80 grit, then 120 grit.
346 minutes later.
These will be painted later, so no need to get crazy. Next, I rounded over every edge with my DeWalt palm router, so there are no sharp edges. FYI, this thing is awesome.
Okay, so I had to move the legs inside the house so I can paint. I want to get them a chance to dry, but in a dust-free environment. So I'm going to go back out to the garage once these are painted and start working on the tabletop.
I wish I had enough room in the garage to wall off an area for painting, but I don't. So plastic is my friend here so I don't mess up the floor. I was told to paint the table gray, so I went with Sherwin-Williams Agreeable Gray. It is so agreeable, in fact, that parts of my house are the same color.
I think of you from time to time, more than I thought I would. You were just too kind, and I was too young to know. That's all that really matters. I was a fool. Baby, we built this house on memories. Take my picture now, shake it till you see it, and when your fantasies become your legacy, promise me a place in your house of memories.
In between coats of paint, I used a 220 grit sanding block to smooth out any rough parts. Now that I'm on to the tabletop, I needed to trace the outline of the bin being used so it can fit snug inside the top. You'll see what I'm talking about a little later. Before the tabletop can be cut though, I have to make a template. This is my first time doing a template, so bear with me. I'm using 3/4 inch MDF, which was a bad idea. You will see why here shortly. After drilling a starting point, I used my DeWalt cordless jigsaw to cut out the template. I made sure to cut just inside the line, and I can finish it out with a router. Then I marked my outside edges where my router will run so I can get a straight line all the way around. Like a glove. I don't know why, but removing this from my new router bit is very satisfying. Anyway, To finish rounding out the opening in the tabletop, I am using a white side flush trim bit from Bits and Bits. A link to this bit and everything else I'm using will be in the description. These are some of the best router bits I've ever used, and I recommend going to the Bits and Bits website and trying some out. Quick note on that though, I usually search for the bit I want, then I go find it on Amazon so I can get free shipping. And here we are to the reason the 3/4 inch plywood was a bad idea. Notice the burn marks and smoke? That's from the router collet, or collet, I don't know how you say it, hitting the MDF. So what did I do? I grabbed a straight bit and routed out about a 1/4 inch deep groove to give some space for the collet to spin. It definitely took more time than I care to admit to figure out what was happening here. Live and learn, I guess. Then I repeat what you just saw for the other side. Now I cut everything down to its final length and width. Well, that was idiotic of me. Now that the top is cut down to the final size, I rounded over the edge to get rid of sharp corners. I also forgot to mention that I added a slight chamfer to the inside of the insert as well, so the bins can slide in easy later. Then I sanded the wood down in every place necessary using 220 grit paper, so I wouldn't sand the wood too far into the veneer. Now that the legs are done, I cut them down to their final size. And then I mark the holes where the casters will be permanently attached later. Here I am using the leg cutoffs as a base to attach all the bottom supports to the table. I spared you from watching me drill pocket holes, so feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down and let me know why in the comments. I would have preferred to paint these before attaching them, but I just don't have the time. Christmas is coming fast, and I also have a regular job on top of this. I'll finish painting everything once it's all together. Now that everything is painted and dry, it's time for the top coat. I was told there was going to be water involved when this table is getting used, so I wanted to make sure it was waterproof. I wasn't sure how much abuse it might take, so I planned for that as well. For these two reasons, I decided to try Flex Seal. You can buy this just about anywhere, so I hit up Lowe's. It is close by and they give veterans a 10% discount. For furniture purposes, you do not want the spray. Head to the paint aisle and grab the liquid. With this, you can brush, roll it, dip, or even pour it on a piece. I chose to roll it on and use the brush in all the cracks and corners. It's not toxic or flammable and UV resistant, and it's very durable and watertight. So I imagine you can leave it out in the elements. I might have to test that out later. As you're rolling, brushing, or whatever this on, try not to get crazy. As I was using it, I noticed it was kind of like a tabletop epoxy. It would self-level, and if there was too much Flex Seal, would begin to drip down. So make sure you go back and clean up any drips. When I let this dry, I just left it in this room so I didn't have to be concerned about dust from the shop. This stuff attracts dust and does not want to let it go. The temperature was also sub-zero, about negative 30 outside with the wind chill, so I needed the warmth of the house to make sure it dried. If you're in my situation, just remember to protect your floor. Now the directions on the can says to give it 24 to 48 hours or more to dry. I can tell you the time to dry is 48 hours or more. This thing was not even close to being dry in the first 24 hours. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now check out Vic enjoying his table.